So good morning, guys. We are back, environmental social justice. So as y'all know, we had the election last night,
We
and
did.
us have been talking about it.
I haven't heard anything about this. What's going on?
Okay. So Joy, fill us in. What happened last night?
Well, it's definitely the polls say one thing, our president says another, and we just have to wait till all of the numbers come in. So nothing was decided last night.
But I know Trump did declare victory, which
he had a party.
Yeah, and then said that they would take it to the Supreme Court, which I just learned this morning. The Supreme Court's not going to vote on this. They're just not involved at this point.
Good.
Yeah, it was interesting. I mean, Joel, you're very fired up. So I was actually going to let you lead today. That's cool with you?
Sure.
Know more about everything that, and you haven't slept. We know this. So
yeah. Well, I slept on and off, but I had the pup kind of taking over the bed last night. So it was much like I'm like seriously.
I'm telling you, dogs had anxiety too. My dog just really. I think it just like reverberated off of us, and
yeah,
she had a hard time sleeping and sitting down.
And Chester would just look at me. He was like all curled up to me last night, like on the couch, like, what's up?
Is it gonna be okay?
Were you screaming at the TV?
No, actually, I was trying to keep calm as I'm watching things in because I think we all. It was hard to watch last night, but then as you're watching the news, you start thinking about kind of what we knew was going to happen. Like this was set up to be this way with the mail-in ballots going out so far early. I think everybody knew that was going to theoretically that's going to skew one way the day of voting because of the person who was telling all of their people to vote the day of because of how corrupt the postal service is, and mail-in ballots are basically being done by Russian trolls, and they're not legitimate. I think we all knew that it was going to show one way. But then, as we're even seeing this morning, as ballots are being counted, there's a potential for it to go the other way. So I think we've all got to just kind of buckle up and drink heavily, sedate ourselves, and just see what plays out over the course of this week. But waking up this morning, texting you guys that article that to see the headline about it is official that we are out of the Paris Climate Accord treaty.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I know that states are saying that they're going to do it and keep going, but when you don't have a unified front for the second biggest polluter in the world leading the way, and we say that we are a leader and they're no longer doing it, it says a lot for our standing in the world, and that scares me. I think we have fallen a lot. I think if
we're behind all of Europe is leaps and bounds ahead of us for circular economy and renewable energies and adopting that platform.
But this is just kind of the beginning, because by June we could be completely out of the World Health Organization as well. We are on the verge of no longer being I don't think we're truly viewed as a leader right now. I really don't, around the world. And I believe that as these things happen, we have the potential to fall further and further behind, which is terrifying. It's very terrifying to me.
Well, they were interviewing people on the streets of London this morning, asking them what they thought about the American election. They were just saying it's sad.
Yeah.
We really do look to America to gauge how the world is going to move forward. So we're not the only ones depressed. This is a global thing.
Yeah, and I think the most depressing thing is, like we were talking beforehand, is to see exactly how divided we are.
That's exactly what I was about to bring up, was when we were talking earlier, it is a divided nation, and it's almost 50-50.
And we've been divided before, but we used to be able to find common ground, and I feel like that is starting to go away. That's being eroded, and the days of conversation and honest dialogue are.
And right now, with this outcome, people are claiming that Arizona falsified the election by handing out Sharpies instead of ballpoint pens, and that other states, I think it's Pennsylvania, just had a news briefing talking about their counting of the ballots and how they're going to count everyone, regardless of being Trump wanting everyone to shut it down.
Yep.
Which is alarming. I mean, this is not the first time that an election hasn't happened overnight, that it takes
It's never happened in our history. It has never
Right.
happened overnight. So it's very dictatory what he's talking about, which is just kind of like, shut it down, we're done, with the sniffles and all that stuff. But it's just, that's not who we are. And I think this is kind of indicative of the bigger problem is, who are we anymore? We are supposed to be a country where every single vote counts. And we have somebody who is sitting in the Oval Office saying, no, they don't all count. But they were all submitted legally. They were done prior to or on the day of elections. Those are legal ballots that need to be counted.
I wonder if his stance would have been reversed if last night he was trailing. If he would have said, no, we have to wait for all of the votes to come in.
What he has said is, you need to stop counting votes here, but keep going here where it shows that I could be where I could win.
Oh,
so he hasn't said, he's cherry picking, Kelsey Dupree, but it's like, that's what he's doing. And we all knew that this was going to happen. He's already said this is going to Supreme Court. The legal battles are about to begin. I anticipate probably 5 minutes ago, the lawyers were showing up in Pennsylvania, if they weren't already there. We just have to buckle up and see. There's too many mail-in ballots because, sorry, we live in a fucking pandemic right now. You can't do this to people. I mean, you shouldn't, but you have to make these things safe so we can have a real democracy. That's all that people are saying.
The pandemic coupled with this is just,
this is record voter
turnout.
Yeah, it's a new low. Yeah. And I mean, you had more mail-in ballots in, what was it? Texas had more mail-in ballots than they had in the entire 2016 election. Mm-hmm. So of course he won that state. So I'm sure he'd be fine with them not being counted. And I hate getting on politics like this, where you're talking bad about somebody, but their behavior and their actions are just showing he's not about a fair election. He's never wanted that. I think we're all just going to have to buckle up, and I'm trying to stay calm, trying to keep the faith. But at the end of the day, whoever wins this election, if it's the person you wanted to win or not, we all have to figure out how the hell we can come back together as a country, because this has to stop. It has to stop. We cannot continue like this. It has been 4 years and it's been getting worse every day. It has to end. Yes. And I don't know how we do that. And that's hard.
I think people are going to start working I don't know. I mean, we all come from different backgrounds. I was raised very conservatively, and I still lean towards the conservative side. I just could not vote for this particular individual. We come together, we talk, we argue. And I'm like that with pretty much, I mean, other than people who are just raging jerks, naturally. So there are more people, I think, like us than that are unlike us, hopefully.
I agree. And I think we all approach this from the same, and I'm not going to get religious here, but we all have the same moral code, which is you treat people with respect. You value people. That is being eroded. Because right now, I'm sorry, I said this before, I cannot, for the life of me, understand voting for somebody who is saying and doing what they are doing. I get the stock market's doing great, not the economy, the stock market, two vastly different things. Promises that are never going to be kept, that are doing nothing but hurting who we are as a society. I genuinely cannot understand that. I mean, I had a conversation years ago with somebody that said, oh, I love this person because we're doing great, my stock market, my portfolio, And I remember my response was like, but at what cost? Nothing comes for free.
Even lower income people that are interested in having a job. Capitalism goes that far. Well, since the bars aren't open and I'm working at a bar, I really need to vote for Trump because he's going to open everything back up. COVID, no COVID, mask or no mask. That's a lot of what people are the everyday person is thinking. They're making decisions.
And that brings me back to my same questions. So now we know what's the cost for doing that. Over 230,000 people are dead, whether it's directly from COVID or
only in our country. Yeah,
exactly. And the numbers are saying by February we could double that. This is the cost of us not coming together to really fight this thing and just do the basics. Wearing a mask, keeping distance. Frankly, why do you need to be closer than 6 feet to somebody? That's a whole nother issue. But it's like, why can't we just do these basic things? I genuinely don't understand. This is for the greater good, and it's all about people coming together, which again, we are so divided. We can't come together to do something as wear a piece of cloth. It's mind-blowing.
It's really the now mentality. A lot of people really believe that it's now or never to make something of their career, live this one life that we're given. Instead of taking the time to really meditate and become more forward thinking, learn a new trade, do whatever you possibly can do.
People are learning new things right now. They're taking that time because they are locked down. They're learning an instrument or they're reading. I mean, thank God I don't have kids. I don't know what I would do with them, but that's a whole another.
3 of us.
Yeah, I mean, that's hard when you have kids at home. And
I don't know how parents are doing it right now. People who are working and trying to teach and doing all that stuff, I genuinely don't know how they do it.
God help you.
Yeah.
If your kid's taking algebra or geometry, forget it. I can't. I have no idea how to do that.
I know.
But
so
no, when
has anybody
morals and ethics, just wanted to circle back on that. I'm actually seeing a lot more improvement in that personally. A lot of the groups that I've been involved with, specifically with climate change and sustainability and risk management, I'm seeing a lot of people that are creating better working environments, more diversity and inclusion, even though a lot of it is they feel they have to. There are a lot of people that are actively like, we need to diversify. We need more people of color, more women. I am seeing things a little. I just my point being, I think it's not as bad as some people might portray it as.
But it's interesting to hear that because I know that was one of the ballot measures in California was for what's the word?
Diversity and inclusion?
No,
that's the one. And it failed.
Yeah, it failed. It wasn't diversity and inclusion. It was affirmative action.
Affirmative action. And it failed. And that one actually kind of took me back a little bit. I was surprised by that. I was watching some of the ballot measures that came in last night. Prop 22 passed. I think everybody has their own varying opinions on that one.
Which one was I don't know the numbers. Which one was that one?
Prop 22 was the one for Uber.
Oh yeah, they stayed
independent contractors. That one passed. I can't remember what all the other ones were.
I can't either. The rent. What about the rent control? Was it rent control? Property tax. The commercial property tax.
I think there was no on rent control, if I remember correctly.
I think rent control and property tax both failed.
Okay.
I think the one for the to be able to transfer your property taxes, I think that one might have passed. So it's just I've been too focused on the national coverage to really look at the California ones, to be honest. But yeah, so I think it's just I don't know. No,
I was just wondering because I guess we'll see. I mean, I know that people are very divided. People are angry right now. I mean, in Beverly Hills, they closed down Rodeo. We had a tank patrolling, a freaking tank. Had a little gun turret at the top, and I thought
it was a Gucci tank. So
it actually said Santa Paula. It wasn't even a Beverly Hills one. It was I don't know. I guess they
came all the way from Santa Paula. That's like halfway between Santa Barbara and San Francisco. Oh, wow. So they went far and wide to make sure
and probably
Brentwood blocked off the streets. They paid armed guards.
Yeah, we had private security as well.
Yeah.
So that tank that probably went from Santa Barbara, wherever it's from, I'm sure that thing gets 3 miles to the gallon.
Oh yeah. Definitely not environmentally friendly, but people are really
people are on edge.
Trying to make they're on edge and trying to make everything happen.
I'm seeing a lot of people that are especially driving. You'll see people blaring their horns, cutting off people. Yeah. I see a lot of aggressiveness late in these past couple of weeks because I think people are tired of being locked down. I know, viruses don't just disappear. We need a vaccine, just like flu.
Here's the kicker about the lockdown. I'm just going to say it, and I'm probably going to people are going to hate me for saying this. We were never fully locked down. So we need to stop saying lockdown. We were like lockdown adjacent. It's like we just never did. We didn't go to the extremities that we could have or that we possibly should have. We just didn't. So it's like we were indoors.
Yeah.
I go outside right now and I still see people like, when I'm out walking the dog, I'm like, what happened to masks? Like, are we free and clear? Like, what happened?
Right.
And I'm just like, I find myself now when I walk by people, I hold my breath because I'm just like, people aren't distancing when they're walking anymore. And I'm just like, we're not out of it.
People, if you go to the grocery store, forget those little dots on the floor. People are standing right up on you. It's like, back up.
Yeah. It's like, this is it.
I need some pepper spray. Back up.
I'm telling you, I'm going to get one of those inflatable. I don't go to the grocery store, but if I did, I would have one of those inflatable sumo suits. And I'm just like, that is my 6 feet right there.
Go to the grocery store. Do you have your groceries delivered?
Yes.
So
since this whole thing has started, we have not gone to a grocery store.
To risk their health to get you groceries.
Well,
yeah. I'm not going to lie. If I'm
it's helping to circulate in the economy because a lot of people that are essential workers still need essential jobs. So
a lot of people have joined Instacart just because they're in the gig economy and they have no work.
I mean, it's a very touchy situation, but I figure, you know what? Here's somebody who's actually, I'm not saying willing to put their lives out there, but I'm saying like you're saying they are willing to do the job. So if this is taking one less person from outside of a store, 1 or 2 people, and we've got just the fewer people going in, I'm for that. I'm okay with that. I'm not asking anybody to risk their lives. I'm not. I understand that people are needing the work. So it's like, yes, do I get to help give somebody some money? Yes. Do I also get to keep the amount of traffic going into stores and possibly keep myself and other people safe? Yes. So is it an ideal situation? It is not. But at the same point, it's better than I think cramming the grocery stores like they were before. Because I remember when this whole lockdown was supposed to start, or this whole thing was going crazy, I went to Trader Joe's and I'm like, what the hell? Like everybody was.
Line. I mean, the line out the park. It was crazy.
It was every row was like backed up, and people were like, I'm like, really, you're stocking up on this? Seriously? But everybody was next to each other. Everybody's coughing and sneezing and da-da-da-da. And now I'm just like looking back going, okay, this is where the delivery services are actually a good thing. It limits the amount of people who are in the stores. And I do actually think that's a good thing. And like we were saying, people who aren't working right now, who are doing these things, can make some money. It is kind of a cyclical thing. It's a bitter pill to swallow, but what are you supposed to do? I think it's better to have those options before you than every single person going out. Personally.
I get it.
What it's worth.
I mean, in other countries where they did do a lockdown and people listened, those were countries where they were under a dictatorship or kingdom or a political system where you were more subservient. So being Americans, we kind of like to say, screw that, I'm going to do what I want. Land of the free, home of the brave. So that's where we have the difference.
But we also weren't told the truth.
That is true.
And I think that is actually one of the biggest issues with it. We were never given the facts about what we needed to do and what this virus could potentially do and became. I mean, in Spain, you couldn't go, 2 people couldn't, I think it was like if you had a dog, only 1 person could go outside. You could only go for like 30 minutes, X distance from your house. Other countries are now going back into lockdown because they behaved in the way that we're behaving. But yet we're not doing it because we have to reopen our economy. We can't reopen our economy when people are getting sick and dying. It's just not going to work. We can't have live music. We can't have museums. We can't have shopping. Malls are closing up left and right. I think there was like 2 mall developers that just filed for bankruptcy.
Yes.
We are doing this to ourselves. We just are. And it's starting at the top because we were never given the facts on how to really know what to do. You had the doctors saying one thing, but then you had other people saying, it's the flu. It's going to be fine. It's not. It's just not. And people have to wake up to that fact. I mean, I'm seeing, you're seeing these rallies where now, a few hundred people have died as a result of them or gotten sick from a result of them. It's like, this is why we're never going to get out of this thing. Because it's like, just Do the
So
fucking basics.
We're reaching our 20-minute. We're going to go a little over. Let's say Trump wins again. Joel, what do you foresee?
A few 100,000 more people dead. A lot of people dead. I see a lot of chaos and turmoil. I see the rich getting very rich. I see the poor getting very poor, and the middle class obliterated.
Joy, same question.
I pretty much ditto everything that Joel said, but I think the violence and the social divisions are going to really set this up for a blaze. This is going to be a pretty difficult period. And just the fact that there's going to be fighting even over this election, who the winner is, either way,
Sure.
it's setting us up in a very bad position. It's going to be pretty sad. It's going to be it's going to play out very badly for the whole world to see, and for many people to be.
Joy, I think you actually tapped on the biggest issue right there. And I'm sorry, I know we're going over time here, but I think you made the best point, is that if Trump does win, the division is solidified. I will be perfectly blunt. I don't believe we will be united for decades. I think, he's already pitting Democratic states versus Republican states. Who gets federal funding? Who gets support? Well, you didn't vote for me. I need you to come kiss the ring. This isn't the Godfather. This isn't the mob. You are supposed to be a president for every single person, whether they voted for you or not. And if they didn't vote for you, you need to show them why they were wrong, or try to work with them. This person will never do that.
No, I agree. We'll probably see more division.
Yeah.
I think, honestly, we've survived the last 4 years that have not been ideal.
Yeah.
I think we'll keep plugging along. I think individual states will stand their ground on their morals and ethics and what they see fit.
Mm-hmm.
So hopefully, the next week we'll find out. Naturally, I would rather see Biden in office. That's just a personal thing. He's not perfect. God, no. They're both not perfect.
Nobody is.
Nobody is. And quite honestly, no one wants the job. It's a crappy job. You do? Okay.
I'll do it.
I'll run your campaign. And on that, Joel's going to run for president in 4 years. Mark my words, or some form of office. And thank you, guys. Thank you, Joy. And next week, we're going to go back to the same environmental social justice topics, probably maybe something on the Paris Agreement and what it means for us as individuals.
Yeah. Stay calm. I'm trying to stay calm, and I apologize if I sounded very negative. I think I didn't speak much.
You were way worse than live.
What's that?
You were way worse.
And just know that no matter what happens, we are all going to be okay.
Exactly.
Our communities, like our community here at Environmental Social Justice, we're going to get through it. We're tough people.
Very true.
Resilient.
Yes.
Okay, guys.
And we have booze.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.